Welcome to this lesson on Task 1A La La La. This lesson is all about setting up your sequencer ready to start inputting all of the data from your score for this year's Task 1A. How I begin this task every year is just making sure the data from the score correlates or can be inputted into the sequencer. It takes me a little bit of time, and I tend to go through the score, write all over it, work out all the sections, work out how everything fits together before I even come to the sequencer. Once I've scribbled all over the score and I've got all my data ready, I then come over to the sequencer. The first bit that I like to do is lay down all of my tracks. So on the score you'll see that there's 14 tracks from the lead vocal, backing vocal and so on, and I lay them down exactly as so they're in exactly the same order. It just makes it easier to follow. The next thing I do is just check the tempo is correct within the score. So I like to import the audio file off the CD or off your iTunes file or MP3 or whatever you've got into the project, and then I just beat match the actual tempo. This little plugin here can be found under the inserts, metering, BPM counter, and it's quite an effective little counter. So if you just press play on the sequencer, and as soon as it gets some beat information, it will start calculating the actual tempo. Okay, so once you've got your tempo set up, you can input that up here to make sure it all synchronizes. Make sure you've got the right time signature as well. On the actual score it's 4/4. I haven't noticed any changes in time signature. I'll just scroll through to see if I've missed any. No, according to the score there are no other time signatures apart from 4/4, which is brilliant. So once I've got my time signature and once I've got my tempo set up and importing of my track, and I've just drag and drop that, by the way, just in case you're not familiar with importing audio files. And once I've got all my track lists set up, I then come up to the marker track, which is this button here, and I start inputting, pressing the plus button and inputting all the sections. It's really important to make sure everything fits with the song. So once you've got your sections down, you're going to need to resynchronize this part to make sure that the first beat of the intro is in time with it. And as you can see, there's actually a gap in my audio here to kind of synchronize that. If I come up to about bar 17, you can see that a bit clearer. So if I zoom in, and there you go, you can see that first beat there is completely on it. Look at bar 18, you can see that's on it. 19, and if you scroll through the piece, you can see that I'm pretty much in sync. This is going to help you later on when you're having to reference the track backwards and forwards. This is really going to help you make sure everything's in time. So if you're looping regions and you're switching between the song and what you've created, it just makes it so much easier. And I'm going to emphasize this a lot about making sure you set up your project correctly in the first place. There's a couple of areas that took me a bit of time to work out. The first was the pre-intro. It's actually not written in the score, but it's just this sound effect, a wind sound effect that kind of comes in. It's less than 8 bars long, as you can see here. So I've just started my sequence on bar 9. It doesn't say that this needs to be included in the track, but I'm going to include it for mine. Then after that, I've worked out the intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, what I'm calling a bridge, and feel free to label that whatever you want, but that's what I'm labeling it, all the way to the end. And remember, this track, according to the specification set up by Edexcel, you don't need to input the last section at 2 minutes 48. So this is all you need for this track. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit more so we can get all that information back. So once we've got the markers, once we've got the track synchronized, and once we've got all the tracks in, we're then ready to start inputting all of our data. So just spend a bit of time. It's probably going to take you best part of an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just to set up your track, but it will save you so much time in the end. Okay.